Hey, what's up, guys? Today we're talking about what I believe to be a fairly important topic. It seems to be impacting many numerous areas that people seem to be involved in, specifically adult type content. I'm not necessarily just talking about porn, but yes, smut. The power that some of these payment processors seem to have is very concerning because you could be doing something that's perfectly legal and they can still put you out of business because they refuse to process your payments. Over on Bounded into Comics, NieR creator Yoko Taro voices concern over a rise in credit card companies refusing to handle adult content. If they have control of the clearinghouse, they can even use it to control speech in other countries. And this is something that's very important to me because it's not the porn that's important. Yes, obviously my handle on X is Pervy Sage. That, so obviously I dabble a little bit in it, but the biggest and most important point here that some people who have no problem with them doing this to porn seem to overlook is if they can do this to people who dabble in NSFW content, they can do this to you. Look what Twitter was doing, before Elon Musk bought it. They were working with the government behind the scenes to control speech. They did this with Facebook as well. Sure, it's not the government doing it, so they obviously didn't break any laws or any constitutional rights or anything like that. But if they could do something that without being politically risky or hurting them from a political standpoint, then that's very dangerous because these people have so much power. And when I say people, I mean these payment processor companies. Ever the advocate for freedom of expression, Yoko Taro has admitted to feeling more than a little uncomfortable with the potential threat to free speech posed by credit card companies' growing refusal to process payments for adult content. And this is not something that's just new. This has been going on for a while, probably at least for 10 to 15 years. I mean, I can find numerous articles. We'll just look at one real quick. This is over on TechCrunch. Gumroad, an e-commerce company for creators, updated its rules to more strictly limit NSFW content, citing restrictions from payment processors like Stripe and PayPal. PayPal, Square, and big banking's war on the sex industry. Payment processors are still policing your sex life, and the latest victim is FetLife. Why banks and payment processors shun perfectly legal businesses? I mean, it's not against the law, so these companies, in my opinion, should not have the power to do this. That's my opinion. And I think a lot of people share that opinion, which is why there's a lot of people starting to speak up about this. The reason I'm making a video on this, because one, it's very important, and two, this directly affects the manga and anime business. Out of print manga archive founded by Love Hina creator shuts doors after credit card companies refuse payment processing services due to their hosting of adult content. So this is stopping people from just doing their normal legal business. It's freedom of expression, and this is way too much power for these people to have. Way too much power. Taro spoke out against the rising phenomena on November 5th via his personal Twitter account. His mind ostensibly turned to the subject thanks to recent news that publicly accessible out-of-print manga archive Manga Library Z would be shutting down after various credit card companies dropped them as a client due to their hosting of various erotic content or comics. This was the Love Hina thing I just pointed out to you. Credit card payment companies are refusing to accept legitimate adult content payments, wrote the eccentric video game director. Regulations beyond the law have been in place and publishing in other fields, but the fact that a payment processor, which is involved in the entire distribution infrastructure, can do so at its own discretion seems to me to be a different level of danger. If they have control of the clearinghouse, they can even use it to control speech in other countries. Thank you. And that's the biggest issue. This power is this is way too much power for these companies to have because, like he said, if they can stop you from doing this, they can stop you from doing other things. Let's say you have a podcast or some sort of show where you survive solely not on the revenue of YouTube, but you survive solely on the revenue of your fan base or the people who listen to your podcast or your TV show. They submit payments to your website, or you have memberships on your website. Well, if the payment processor decides, oh, I don't like the content you're producing, or I don't like the speech that you're saying, they can refuse to service you, and then you're fucked. You're out of business. This is way too much power for these people to have, in my opinion. And I do not say this lightly because I hate anytime the government gets involved. Governments need to get involved with this. They need to stop this. If they're going after people who are honestly doing something that is legal, then they're overstepping. They should be able to do this. They should not be able to go to you and be like, no, we're not going to provide you this service because we don't agree with what you're doing. Look, you're there to provide a service. If I'm paying you money, you don't need to worry about what the fuck I'm doing. As long as it's legal, shut the fuck up and process my payments. That's exactly what these people need to be doing. And the governments need to get involved and make sure that they stop this, because this is very concerning. But unfortunately, that probably won't happen because there are people in the government. And I'm not just saying from the US standpoint, I'm saying from other governments. I mean, Australia is one of them because they've tried to ban certain manga and anime, but there's certain people in government, I think, approve of this because they get their panties and twist it all up and whenever they think of porn. But they'll be the first ones to go to that gay app and try to goon themselves out on some sort of homosexual taboo. I mean, look, I'm half joking, but hell, when the RNC was wherever they were at this past year, I mean, I think the app, one of the Grinder, one of those apps for like gay sex stuff was like peaking. It was maxed out in that specific area. I'm just saying, the people who want to police what you do are also the ones who partake behind the scenes in some of the worst crap possible. Epstein, Diddy. I mean, there's a reason why those people, their client list never gets made public. I'm just saying. So I don't have a lot of faith that the government's going to do what they should do, make sure these businesses can't do that, because they are literally putting the livelihood of other people at risk because of their own morals. And I just think that's wrong. Proceeding to head off those bad faith critics who would dismiss his concerns as being rooted in nothing more than perversion. There's nothing wrong with perversion as long as it's legal. Oh God, I'm doing the Biden thing where I'm whispering.
No one's saying that. No poll says that.
Sorry. Taro would affirm in a follow-up tweet that his personal position would actually born out of fear that such power structures would eventually have very real consequences of people worldwide. Of course. That's my fear. It's not because of the perversion, even though I do dabble in it from time to time. It's that this power can be used for other things. If you can't see that, then either you're blinded by your own negative feelings towards porn or lewd content, or you're just fucking stupid. I get the sense that this is not just a matter of adult regulation or freedom of expression, but a security hole for democracy as a whole. Yes, thank you. As noted above, though, Taro does not specify what specific events or persons prompted his tweets. Given their timing, it's almost certain that the aforementioned shuttering of Manga Library Z was at the forefront of his mind when he wrote them. It wouldn't surprise me. Per a recap of the situation provided by Manga Library Z founder and Love Hina mangaka Ken Akamatsu, the direct cause of the site shutdown this time, sounds like it's happened more than once, was that the payment agency notified us that it was terminating the entire payment service, including payment methods other than credit card payment. All credit card companies, including JCB, suddenly became unusable, and all other payment methods except BitCash also became unavailable. In addition, even the payment for the month that had already passed was withheld. Holy shit, they're withholding money that was already... Oh my God, I would take him to court on that one. And since the premium membership fee for that period and future ones was no longer coming in at all, we found ourselves in a situation where we could not even pay for the server. The Manga Library Z management staff discussed the situation and came to the conclusion that it is impossible to operate the site solely on BitCash earnings. Even if we find an alternative payment agency, the same phenomenon may occur again, and we do not want to survive by deleting only some of the works. And I give them all the credit for standing on their principles. That's something, honestly, that's rare for people nowadays, especially when their livelihood is at risk. Usually they will compromise their principles. So props to him for not doing so. And I love this. I think it was also an anime. I loved this manga. I thought it was a great manga. We decided to shut down the site. We deeply apologize that the period between the notification and the withholding of payment was so short that we had to bow down to the company that provides the payment service. However, this time we were able to obtain accurate information, such as on what basis the company declared the suspension of payment services, how much penalty will be imposed and how long it will last, what specific measures were taken to avoid the suspension. We believe that we will be able to conduct a more legitimate investigation and conduct a hearing. I'm not sure what he's referring to exactly there. In the past, Love Hina was banned by Apple's ebook application and later restored. We still cite that experience frequently as a concrete experience example for protecting freedom of expression and use it effectively to this day. In recent years, unprecedented strong conditions and strong penalties have been issued by payment services. And if these are left unchecked, the situation will surely become a problem, not only for ebooks, but for the Japanese content industry as a whole. I've said this before because of tourists that get involved in manga and anime, and they want to change the things that they find offensive. I hate that manga and anime has become so mainstream. I really do. Mainly because it's got people like the tourists that come in, they want to change it, and then things like this happen. Because what'll happen is people will complain to these payment processors, be like, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this. You agree with it? This is what you support? They do the same thing with advertisers too. And so these people will be like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that. And they'll shut it down. Honestly, look, if it's legal, this should not be allowed. This is way too much power for any service or any company to hold. This could be used in ways that could drastically impact civilization. Not just porn. What I'm talking about is, I use Twitter as an example. The things you could and couldn't say on Twitter before Elon Musk bought it, you didn't really know. I mean, people would get banned left and right for reasons that honestly was unclear to them. But at the same time, you would say just some simple truths and you would get banned. Same thing with Facebook. The stories and the content that you would or wouldn't be allowed to post on there, you never knew would be absorbed, and it always seemed to lean one direction. But now that he's bought it, it's become a lot better. You can say things on it. Yeah, people may not like it, but it is freedom of expression. It is freedom of speech. Even if you don't like the speech, it's legal. We have laws that limit what you can say to a degree, but for the most part, we are free to say what we want. And in my opinion, there should be very little consequences to saying what you think. Now, it depends on how smart you are to utilize that speech in certain times, in certain environments. Sure, you're going to have more consequences than in others, but payment processors should not have the ability to limit anybody's ability to do anything. They're just there to process a payment. If there's a business that has people that want to provide a service, then they should be able to use this payment processor to process all the payments that come through. They shouldn't have any insight or any say into what these people are doing for their business. This is going way beyond the boundaries of what they should be able to do. So I know this ain't the usual anime thing, but I wanted to bring this up. I thought it was very important. I don't honestly know what to do. I really don't. I don't know if complaining to your government, to the FTC or FCC, whoever, I'd have to do more research on who regulates these payment processors, honestly. But if this is something that bothers you, you honestly need to reach out to your local government, your state senator, your federal senator, or just start reaching out to people. Start getting more eyes on this, because this is something that honestly we need to put a stop to. It's a danger to anything, honestly. Anything that involves payment processors, this is a danger. The fact that they have this much power. So let me know down in the comments what you guys think. Do you agree, disagree? If you like the video, hit thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more content, and I will talk to you guys next time.